Okay, we've talked before about whether it's right for Victoria Police to charge event organisers for policing events if it gets out of control. Is this fair enough? 96900 693 13 13 32. This is becoming regular occurrence. Been a number of legal fights. Remember Milo Yiannopoulos last December, Kensington? Michael Hilda went down there. Footage of that was unbelievable. Protesters, unionists, rocks thrown, capsicum. Victoria Police billed the organiser, Penthouse Magazine, strange, 50 grand. Hasn't been paid. Big Pole's taking legal action. That was last December. Then in July this year, two conservative Canadians, Lauren Sutherland and Stephen Molyneux, spoke at this event in Somerton. Counter-protest, 200 people there. Police have upped the bill a bit. They've charged these people $67,842, but they're not going to pay. $67,842 for police to police the crowd at an event where these right-wing commentators were speaking. On the line, the director of one of the organisers, Axiomatic Events, David Pellowe. Good morning.
G'day, Neil. How are you?
I'm okay. This is our money, you know. If you don't pay this, it comes out of the public purse.
Yeah, well, this is what the public do pay the police for. We've got these left-wing extremists, and they're prepared to be violent and irrational. They're not prepared to engage in debate or conversation. The invitation was thrown wide open. If anybody wanted to disagree or debate with the guest speakers, they were welcome to buy a ticket like everybody else and bring hard, challenging questions. If they didn't want to have that conversation, they're able to pull out. But what they are able to do is they're able to manipulate the Daniel Andrews government and Victoria Police to inflict...
Before we get into that, you're not going to pay the $67,842?
Look, we had plenty of offers of people who were prepared to donate to cover it because they were outraged by the injustice of it.
Yeah.
But the public interest doesn't lie in paying these kind of things and rolling over and further enabling the thugs' veto. In my mind, it would be immoral to agree to pay this because it's going to have a really, really bad effect on the future of public debate in Australia.
So the police have asked for the $67,842. You've written back to them. What did you say?
In short, we told them to go jump. It's
it's not very respectful for the police. Not their fault.
No, it's actually, I've got a great deal of respect for the police and a great deal of appreciation for the hard work that they did on the night, but it is entirely their fault. The bureaucratic layers of Victoria Police and their political masters have a great deal of discretion in this. They actually told us...
That's silly too, the political masters. Now the police, one of the things I think they pride themselves very much on here is independence from political manipulation. Are you saying that the government has manipulated the police here?
I'm saying there's a great deal of political influence, and I don't think that's a matter of speculation. I think that's a matter of obviousness.
So, but are you seriously saying the police have sent you a bill because we've got a left-wing government in charge?
Yeah. I don't think that's ridiculous either.
Well, I think that's pretty offensive. I mean, the police must. I mean, they're investigating that left-wing government for rorting the red shirts. I mean, the police must be very, very careful in being distanced from government. Have to be.
Look, we have left-wing governments in other states, and as a matter of record, no other state thought it was necessary to, implement this blame the victim, user pays police nonsense. In Perth, the legislation is very simple. If you're interested, they won't charge an event until there's over 5,000 paying attendees. That seems to be a sensible balance to me. But see, the thing that's remarkable about this, Neil, is that any ordinary event like this doesn't need police assistance. But because there's a bunch of extremists who disagree with the content, they have the ability to manipulate a financial penalty on event organisers, further empowering the thugs' veto. The effect of this law, even if you agree with the principle of it, and I don't necessarily overly object to the principle of contributing to unusual resources, but when the effect of it is really, really deleterious to public debate in Australia, you have to, as a government, look and say, how is this policy being implemented? And it is a policy that has plenty of room for discretion. How is this being implemented, and does it have a positive or a negative net effect on Victorian society and Australia? And I already know of other events that have changed their plans, muted and chilled the debates they were planning on having, specifically because they were afraid of a bill from police. This is not helpful to our debate.
There'll be a lot of police at the AFL Grand Final where there'll be 100,000 people, and the AFL, that's because there'll be some yobbos there, a bit like, the left yobbos you're talking about. There'll be some yobbos there who get drunk and do stupid things. Yep. The AFL will pay for the police to be there. Why is that? Why should that be any different? Why should the AFL pay and you not?
Look, it's a good question, and there's a few people who have pointed that out. And the thing I think, and this is just my opinion, but I just don't think there's any equivalence between 100,000 people in a single place where there's obviously going to need to be an unusual amount of police there, and 800 people who are not just a large amount of people in one place. It's 800 people which normally appear anywhere without any consequences. But the reason they need police protection is because they're the targets of violence, of fear and intimidation from people who are trying to achieve a political agenda. They haven't broken any laws or behaved badly.
How far would you take it?
Look, not only is the application of this fee a serious undermining of common law rights, which are available to everybody in Victoria and the rest of Australia, but it's also a clear infringement upon the implied constitutional freedoms of free speech and political communication. Well, when you're talking about infringing constitutional rights, that's something that the High Court needs to protect Australian citizens on.
So and if this law, you'll fight it all the way to the High Court, will you?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is a hill worth dying on. The attack on free speech in Australia has already gone too far, and we need people who will stand up and say, "I'm willing to be the test case. I'm willing to, fight because this is terrible encroachment upon the liberal, inclusive democracy that Australia used to be proud of being."
Thank you very much, David Pellowe, event organiser, Axiomatic.